It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Unplugged with Scotty G. It's a pleasure to have you in here. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I know it's been a bit. We took yesterday. I was at the stadium enjoying the World Series celebration, giving myself a day to celebrate this team, celebrate the organization, the players, the fans, and look around and just, really soak it all in. Just really soak it all in. As a fan of this team for, my entire life, just one of those teams that you look at it on the surface, you look at it, everything that happened and how it, played out for this team in 2025. Just a remarkable run. Everybody, welcome in. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me, supporting Dodger Blue. Prior to the postseason, leading up to it, tier ones, tier twos, everybody knows who you are. So thank you for tuning in here. Let me adjust my lighting a little bit here. But yeah, it's really a pleasure to have you all in to the tier ones in chat. Thank you, TQT, back to back. Foxy, how you doing, everybody? Mike, it's good to see you. What I was really impressed with yesterday is I was looking around my buddies and we were really, focusing on how many that was Dodgers fans. That was fans at its finest. That was the ones that you would say in a perfect world, if fans could reasonably pay the prices that, are for Dodgers postseason tickets, that stadium would be crazy. That stadium would be insane in the postseason. If you packed a postseason game with the fans that were at the ballpark yesterday, it would be an atmosphere like no other. Hear all the time about the bank. You hear, Toronto pounded their chest about their stuff there. If the fans that were at the stadium yesterday for the World Series celebration were at them for all the postseason games, it'd be a different animal. It'd be a different cat. I wouldn't want to warm up around there. You'd get lit up. But what's up, everybody? Hello. I know I tapped in following Game 7. We got a little bit crazy, but that was, the celebration stuff there. I was tuning into the show last night. But just unbelievable stuff. We're going to break down a few things today. We're going to break down, I want to talk World Series celebration. I want to talk Game 7 especially. I'll do this over the course of a few days here, break down some stuff, what I loved, all those things here. But give you also an opportunity in chat to give me your experience, things that you highlighted, things that you loved from the series, thing that you loved from yesterday. Anything along the way, you let me know. Again, as always, some people, this chat is for you. This spot is for you. So let me know what you love. Toss that in chat. I'm going to get to it. Everybody knows I do my best to get through and read as much as I can while I'm, hosting the solo pod. This is exactly where I want to be. So kick it off there. Just really want to give some thoughts about the World Series celebration. And in 2024, I was downtown, with the parade, and that was more for the experience of just being with the people, being down there with all the fans and kind of feeling that relief. And then after 2020, no parade, didn't feel the same. And then, walking downtown in 2024, the parade came and went really fast. But being with all the people there, and you see all age groups, young to older. And that was really a cool thing. I'm a social butterfly. So speaking with absolutely everybody I could, and hearing stories and what this team means to them and what what that World Series meant to them. People who were alive for, 81, 88, 2020, all the crushing losses in the 2010, stuff like that. Right. And 2024 was special because there were a lot of storylines to, really cling on to. And it felt like that relief where it's not that 2020 was, lesser. It was that the celebration is for the fans. That's for the fans to see the players they support year round. Right. And that was a beautiful experience in itself. And what I loved about that then is that it felt like for the players, there was a lot of emotional relief. Clayton Kershaw, Teoscar Hernandez had that incredible run. And then 2025. So yesterday, going into the stadium, what I really loved is that it was just pure. That was Dodgers fans. And the turnout was absolutely insane. It was packed. It was packed. And just the hype from getting everybody in there, the hype from knowing that the buses are on their way there. What I really enjoyed is that the players were all, humble to their own, giving credit to each other. And the things that I really pulled away from that is exactly what Dave Roberts said and why the 2025 team was incredibly special is that Miguel Rojas summed it up. And Dave Roberts has a quote that I really always appreciate every time he brings it out. It's not that he loves to compete. It's that Dave Roberts says when the game honors you, right? The game, when you honor the game honors you. And what Miguel Rojas said on the stage yesterday was that every single person had a moment. And I've been explaining this to a lot of people. Everybody gets caught up with end of the regular season numbers, end of the postseason numbers. That's all well and good. And there's a time and place for that. But when it culminates in a World Series title, you look at it as everybody had a moment that contributed to it. I couldn't care less about what somebody did at the end. When it's all, you peel back that, and if you just take away, how did this team do, X team do in the World Series? How did they do in the postseason run? It mattered. It culminated in a World Series title. So overall numbers, Mookie Betts, Miguel Rojas, stuff like that, Andy Pages, it does not matter. It does not matter. Each player had a moment. Tommy Edman had several leading up through the postseason. Andy Pages was putrid at the plate, but at the times when he had to be there, put the ball in play against the Phillies, force them to make a mistake, win a ball game. High point of catch in Game 7, which we'll get to in a little bit. Everybody had a run. Everybody had something. And that's where, for me, you look at it as, every player had some piece, something, some way of contributing to this World Series title. And that's what Miguel Rojas highlighted on the stage yesterday. And I really had to think about that and take that all in there. It was just, this was a special one. This was a special one. Everyone's a special one. But this one in particular, when you contrast it to 2024, which, you always do, it's a different group, but there was just the frustration, the jubilation, when you look at just the performances of, the starting pitching and leading up towards the playoffs, chat, that we all said that this team would have to lean on that starting pitching. They had no choice. They had zero choice. Even the fact that everybody was frustrated with Dave Roberts and leaving some relievers out there in some really tough pressure situations and wondering why the hell he was doing it. It's because he had to find out who he had. It was just how many he could rely on. And at the end of it, he didn't have that many. A lot of them were all converted starters. And thinking about everybody who contributed, at the end of the day, it was the starters. It was converted starting pitchers that transformed themselves and went in that mindset of bullpen roles, and they did that. So on that sense, when Miguel Rojas said that, like, when you're a fan and you break things down on a regular basis, you read between the lines and you do all that. And that's how I took that quote. And Miguel Rojas is a very insightful player, veteran piece. And now I'll say this, look, that homer from Miguel Rojas, I'd say that's one of the most impactful home runs in Dodgers history. It's got bigger implications than Kirk, bigger implications than both the Freddies. When you're down to one out in the bottom of the ninth in a Game 7, that's one of the biggest homers in the history of baseball. Unbelievable stuff there. That type of swing, That type of swing there from the most unlikely source. Unlikely source. Just a, what the hell? Remember where you were type of stuff, no matter what. Couldn't believe that. Dave Roberts sticking with his gut there. The ball's on him to do that. And like, I know the reasoning. The reason, yeah. Yeah, TQT, did the Rojas really happen? It was shocking. It was shocking. It was shocking. But just the World Series celebration yesterday, guys, it did it for me. That did it for me. It's hard to get the games during the regular season, but when you track them so much and you watch them so much and you know postseason stuff, you live and die with the team. It's just those type of moments are ones that matter. And I think the Dodgers organization did a beautiful job, like a really beautiful job with it all. Honored the players. Joe Davis had, him maneuver some words around. Part-time announcer came out. Appreciate that. So I think they did a beautiful job honoring these guys. They were all very gracious. I thought some of them would go on a little bit longer of tangents, but it was amazing to hear from Yoshinobu Yamamoto and how they honored him there, sent him out first, and the fans, MVP. It was great. It was good to hear from Shohei. Freddie Freeman got the loudest ovation aside from Yamamoto. This organization, these fans, you guys love Freddie Freeman. My daughter loves Freddie Freeman, favorite player. It's these guys all love on one another. And I love what, who said that? Who said this, that they didn't care who did it? Mookie Betts, he just said they don't care who does it. They're all looking out for each other. Ruby, what's up, man? Love you, buddy. And it plays true. You can see it. When stuff culminates like that, guys are going through the toughest spots. You just got to be ready. So all credit to Dave Roberts. They all announced that on the mic. You've got to give credit to Dave. You've got to give credit, for how these guys all feel they have a need. Justin Dean appeared in so many postseason games without an at-bat, defensive stuff. So it's all about staying ready, and they honored each one of these players. And I just felt that it was really good stuff. It was well done. I've got no big issues and nothing I would have loved to see more out of the World Series celebration. I know they made the parade route longer. If you're at the parade, let me know in the chat. If you were there at the parade, if you're at the stadium, let me know. If you echo these kind of same things. It was an incredible run, an incredible day, a celebration that it did it for me. That put a nice cap on that 2025 run. Welcome to Boys Home. Everybody talking that shit. It was great. Kike Hernandez was electric. It was good stuff. Kike was crazy. Ice Cube coming out. It was good. Dan didn't know Dave Roberts this year doing some dancing though. He had a sweet jacket. Unfortunately, we didn't see any dancing out of Dave. That would have been nice. Hall of Fame manager. So it was good to hear from him. They're already looking ahead to 2026. They were already doing that. A lot of players were looking at that. Freddie was like, job done in 2024, job done in 2025. He's looking ahead to 2026. Shohei's asking about another ring. I respect that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it was good stuff. Got a super chat here. Mike says, let's trade for Schoolboy and bring back Belly 3, #3P. We could talk some trades. We could talk some stuff. You guys want to do that? That wasn't on my list today, but I'll put that right at the end here. I got no problem with that. We'll talk some opt-outs. There's been some crazy ones. There's been a lot. There's been a lot of opt-outs going on here. The open market is going to be pretty big time. Going to be pretty big time. So we'll talk about that. I don't mind. Just remind me. Put a pin in it if you got some questions about it. We'll go on for a little bit there. If anybody has some, if you got any stories from yesterday, put them in chat. Let me know here. It says, basking in the glory, being a Dodgers fan at the stadium was magical. Blue heaven on earth. Yeah. Dave says, I felt like I was there watching on TV. David Vasse, Kirsten, they did all terrific jobs. Everybody else. Steven Nelson's been incredible this year. All credit to him. I've become a huge fan. He's transformed himself. He was terrific with Mo on the radio calls. all throughout the postseason. They did an incredible job. There were a lot of nights where, I'd have watched the game, or I'd be out and about doing something, not able to stay as tuned in as I otherwise would, glued to a TV. But Steven Nelson and Mo did an amazing job on the radio call there. So I want to give a ton of credit to Steven Nelson. He's elevated himself, and he's been terrific. He's been terrific. He's got a multitude of calls now where it's just beautiful stuff. So radio calls hit home for me a lot. That's what I did a lot in my childhood. So it's just like it resonates a lot. You know what I mean? Resonates a lot with me. All right. Anybody else at the parade? Anybody else at the stadium? Gee, where do you say nobody mentioned that? Guess what? Don't care. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Don't need to mention it. They got a ring, buddy. Doesn't matter. Undisputed. We need to stop hating Doc. He is the GOAT. Many have been saying this for a long time, Undisputed. Many have been saying this for a long damn time. He's third all time in postseason wins. When it's all said and done, Dave Roberts is going to be the most winning. He can be the winningest manager in postseason history. He's going to pass Joe Torre. Yes, Dave Roberts is going to go down as one of the all-time great managers in the history of baseball. All time. All damn time. All damn time. And people get mad about him about a bullpen decision in June. Want him fired. Nuts. People are funny, man. Undisputed. W take. He's the GOAT. When all said and done, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll be the best man, go down as the best manager in Dodgers history. It's just how it is. Jocelyn says parade was amazing, but you didn't get to see Yamamoto since he was on this other side of the bus. Yeah, he's a short dude too. He's a short dude too. He's like me. He's taking it all in. I love that. He was taking it all in. It was great. That was one of the funniest things ever. He just looked like, man, he was staring all around. It was great. He's a small dude, but he is a Herculean individual. Get him, chat. W chat. Love you guys. All right. Let's see. Boxy, Vin and Ross Porter used to put me tuck into bed in summer. Good times. Yeah, absolutely. Radio stuff for me. I used to fall asleep with Chick Hearn on the TV, stuff like that. I'm 32, but like that's, I remember when it was on Prime Ticket and stuff like that, and channel 41, 42, stuff like that. Used to put that up there, and KTLA 5, channel 9. I remember all that, guys. Good times. I even miss Steve Lyon. Steve Lyon was a beast on the TV. Just had a good TV voice. That's it. Our Short King, no doubt. Yeah, I love that though. He went out there, and I appreciate him speaking both English, Spanish. He is soaking it all in. 2 years, 2 titles for him. Same thing with Shohei. Him, Roki, Shohei, they all really gravitate towards each other. I appreciate the hell out of them. Dancing around my talk about Yamamoto for now. But let's talk Game 7, guys. Let's do this. We haven't had a chance to do this. I haven't had a chance to do it. That's why sometimes, on the nightcap, on the post games and the Sundays, we don't have a chance. I don't have a chance to really dive into the stuff. I got to just chime in on either, Twitter, just have the conversations out. Really going through Game 7 and starting Shohei, on short rest. If you guys are okay with me doing this, let me know, but I'm going to do it anyway because I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But I like going through this Game 7 here just because of how nerve-wracking it was and looking through it and the moments, that came from it, right? But Shohei going on short rest is something that I was a little bit leery of. I wasn't so hyped on letting him go as long as he could. I really wanted to, when Shohei came out in the first inning, he didn't look great. His spray pattern wasn't sharp. He immediately first inning gives up a leadoff single to Springer in 3-1 count. And that really just, I was like, whatever. It is what it is. It's going to happen, right? Gets a punch on like a 7-pitch punch out, I think, to Lucas. And then Vladdy gets, punched out on a full count here. And then the strike him out, throw him out. That was great. So I really appreciated what he did right there, to get out of that first inning. But his command right here, Predator, his command was way off from the jump. And then kind of looking ahead here, it wasn't good stuff. The second continued the same type of thing there. 5-pitch walk to Bobichette, jam shot single to Barger, Kirk pop out, fly out, single to Ernie Clement. So it's just, he was in traffic from the get-go. And I was really wondering when the heck he was going to get pulled. His pitch count through bottom of the second was in the 40s nearly. Like it was getting up there. So I didn't have a great feel for what Dave was thinking right there. And usually you can. I know he was trying to push him. Because they were wondering with Glasnow coming out prior, and saying that he had some, side soreness there. I didn't think that. I know they made a lot of, a scuttlebutt that it was going to be a big deal and it was probably affecting him, but I didn't think that it was going to pull him out from the game. Like, I think they would have made a bigger deal about it. But I knew he would factor in, and he did. And he was incredible. He was great. I think that you had to go to Glasnow early on. Like, Chad Moriyama had good stuff about it. He echoed, like, he tweeted out something that it was like the command was completely erratic. The spray pattern wasn't good at all. So it's like when he's trying to dive into his bag there, once I saw Ohtani having to really break out splitters, I was like, okay, he feels like he's a little bit of in trouble right here. And that for me was like a big signal because he rarely uses the splitter now. He's kind of, went away from it. So he was going against, maybe he was diving back in because the game plan called for it, but he probably didn't feel great with everything else, which is why he kept going back to it. And he went right back out there for the third. Another single from Springer, sacrificed the second by Lucas there, wild pitch. Vlad gets intentionally walked there. And then Bobichette, that swing to Bobichette, or that pitch to Bobichette, god damn, that ball was smoked. And I don't know about you guys, but I was in mixed company. I was at a dinner party with a bunch of softball friends and softball family. So my eyes, everybody's doing their own thing, and my eyes are glued to the TV, and I'm just charting these pitches. And he goes, slide piece, center cut, 3-0, and it felt like a ton of bricks. It felt like a bomb went off. That was a shot. That was a shot. Let me see here. Robert says this: Doc slotting Will Smith in the 2 spot was a masterstroke. Yeah, it was a move, Robert, that had to be made. They could have moved Mookie down farther, but with the way Will Smith was seeing it and the way he was, conducting at bats, I agree. It was a great move. You got to provide Ohtani with some protection and the wherewithal that, hey, this series isn't over. Yeah, I was a clipboard, mental clipboard. I was locked in, but mental clipboard. If you guys follow me on Instagram or whatever, I was stressed the hell out. Everybody's making fun of me, but sports mean a damn lot. Baseball means a damn lot to me. Like live or die stuff. Not like literally, but it's like you live through the team and their successes. At the end of the day, like I'll call out whoever needs to be called out. I have no problem with that because these are professional athletes and they understand criticism is there. And, but at the end of the day, like I want everybody to succeed on the team. You know what I mean? Because I'm a fan. I'm an analyst. Like I'm always going to be transparent with that. Hard stuff's got to be made. Some people say get too negative sometimes, but that's fandom, man. Like that's how it is. It's not being overly negative to call somebody out when something ain't right. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. Some people don't want that. Some people want all sunshine all the time, but sports isn't all sunshine all the time. So you got to talk about it. Head in the sand doesn't always work. You got to break down shit when it's not right. But yeah, it was, want to say this. TQT says, no way I'm watching a game 7 anywhere but my home. Kudos to you, Scott. It was pre-planned, man. This was like deep. This was with, the family. This was with my girlfriend and my daughter. So it was like, I couldn't bail on out. I couldn't bail it. I would have gotten ridiculed to kingdom come. And some things are, life, right? You got to keep it all. Happy gal, happy life, happy kiddo, happy life. That's how it goes, man. You got to sacrifice sometimes. Halloween was tough. I was out trick-or-treating with the earbuds in and listening to the call. That was a stressful one. So I know a lot of dads out there, moms out there, everybody were doing the same thing. I ended up on a corner house where they had all the dads had the game on, and I stayed there for like 2 innings. Yeah. That was gas. So shout out to that family. Yeah, but back to it. Ohtani should have never come back out for that 3rd inning. So if you echoed that same thing, he should have never come back out there. And Max Scherzer felt like he was just dancing around a ton of damn damage, because in that 1st inning, like Mookie Betts smoked one to end the inning. Freddie Freeman barely missed one. Freddie Freeman barely missed like 2-3 home extra base hits in that game. So Freddie Freeman, he was just barely missing a barrel. And it sucks that they all were in a bunch, because Freddie could have done so much damage. 40-year-old Max Scherzer standing on the mound. I was like, they need to get this dude, they need to tag him for something. And he kept skating by. He just kept skating by. So they stuck with him. They were confident with him there. And then you go, I wasn't so happy with the results here. But the biggest thing is that, finally in the 4th inning, Will Smith leads it up with the double. Freddie with a single, put him on the corners there. What I was good for with that is Teoscar comes in there with the bases loaded there and 1 out in the 4th, and he goes 1-0 count, lines one, which I felt that was a really good spot for Teoscar. I felt that he wasn't going to dive away, because Max is really going to try to spin him to death on that. And that's something Teoscar has really struggled with. Not so much against other guys, but, split's been tough for him, like really tough for him. Slide piece, not so much. Savage was a nightmare matchup for him. But so is Gosman. Teoscar has a really tough time recognizing split and 4-seam tunnels. So that's something he'll probably work on in the offseason. I expect him to be better going into the next season with that, because that was like all the entire postseason. If you had a split, it was just a tough matchup for Teoscar. But against Scherzer there in the 4th inning, I felt that Scherzer's going to really try to go heavy breaking ball down, try to get a bad swing, catch a bad barrel, inning double play there. But Teoscar was able to line one. Varsho makes a great diving stab. Will Smith scores in the sac fly. And I was like, damn, man, like that was a spot, that was a spot where they could have tacked on, 2. And I felt that was a good spot, but they ended up making it happen. Here. They get 1, and you're going to find a theme of how I'm going through this here. I'm going to draw back to what I spoke about in the series against the Brewers and the series against the Phillies. Edman follows up right after that. Excuse me. Yeah. With lines out, diving play from Vlad to end it. It was tough. That was a tough deal. And then in the 5th, single to Rojas and the day. And then that's when it got churning for the Blue Jays there. And this is when the multiple looks that the Dodgers were able to have there, really benefited them, I would say. I thought that against Louis Varland in the 5th inning, the Dodgers were going to do damage just because of how much they've seen him. But Louis Varland, one of the best performances in the postseason as far as being a rubber arm, that's something that like the Dodgers would be like, yep, we've all seen that before. Paco Rodriguez stuff where you just run him into the ground, and he was all right with that. GI, I like this here. He says the 18-inning game followed by game 4. Start just taxed Ohtani. Didn't expect him to go past the 1st, go around through the lineup. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. His stuff didn't look good. They were probably wondering how do we find the innings here? How do we find the innings here? I just want to pull up box score real fast just so I can see this for myself. Because right after that, Robo comes in and saves his ass. And Justin Robleski earned a ton of respect because he became a strike thrower. A lot of people lost faith. Against the Phillies in that whole series and how all that all went down. And I understand that, but it was just in a bunch. It was just release point there. It just feels that the Phillies, when they tag you, and it's all in bunches there. But law of averages, Justin Robleski came in. And I've never seen – I've seen players try to, dive in at pitches, but Andrés Giménez, man, it's just one of the most incredible yap jobs I've ever seen on a baseball field there, when you're intentionally trying to get hit by a pitch and then you get mad when another, fastball comes in, same spot, because they're trying. It's the situation calls for it. So I know like the moment is tense, but Andrés Giménez, what the hell are we doing, man? Absolutely. What the hell are we doing? That's just something that what are we doing, man? You're down 3-1. You're not trying to put someone on base. You're trying to pitch to the scouting report, not let him extend a barrel, because all series long, it felt like if Andrés Giménez got, breaker outer half, fastball outer half, what was he going to do? Shoot it the other way. That's his MO. So you go with a scouting report and you force feed him stuff up and in, because the first pitch he goes, four-seamer up and in, four-seamer up and in, four-seamer down away, gets called strike, foul ball and a slider down, so he's just spoiling it. And then he just, starts to get mad. Fastball over the plate, tries to push his hand out there, which was nonsense. And then, same type of spot there. He doesn't want any part of Justin Robleski. Justin Robleski would beat his ass. Like, I'm not worried about that. He said it after the game. Told him to come see me. He didn't. That's baseball, though. That's ball. If you're not ready for it, that's like the last part of baseball that it's just like, the Buster Posey rule and all that, no contact stuff. But at the plate, that's you got to, put up. You got to put up. Jimenez doing a profar. It's being annoying stuff. That's the injection of life. And you talk about like momentum or narratives and stuff like that in the middle of a ball game. That's just Dave Roberts it navigates this at an exceptional rate. Like in the Padres series, I'm going to take the focus off the players and put it onto myself. I'm going to take all the chatter off of the players who don't need the extra pressure so they can go play. And that's what Jimenez did. He took the focus away from the game on their side that we're going to, we're winning this ball game right now. And he put it on the thing that, all right, you want to keep chirping. And the Dodgers are just, waiting in the wings. And all the while, guys, all the way through the sixth inning, what did the Blue Jays not do one time? Not one time tack on runs. Not one time tack on runs. I had this pulled up. I had this bookmarked here. Give me 1 second. But they didn't tack on one time. All my bookmarks, I've got like, oh my God. I've got like 100 from this stuff here. Excuse me. 1 sec, guys. Sorry, chat. You're the best. Bearing with me. Great. Here we go. With Ohtani and a mound in the bottom of the second, they had bases loaded, 2 outs, nothing. Jimenez gets punched while up 3-1 in the bottom of the fourth with first and second, 1 out, nothing. Robleski gets out of that. In the bottom of the ninth with Yamamoto on the bump, bases loaded, 1 out, tie ball game, nothing. Bottom of the 11th, first and third, nothing. Just all the left on base, yeah, TQT, man, locked in again. Left on base king. They did not add on. And that's just, what do we talk about all postseason, guys? I say you leave the door cracked open for the team, they're going to kick it down. They do that. I know what the Blue Jays did as far as comebacks, but guess who was right there next to them? Right there. Is there a Padres fan in here? That's gas. That's fire, man. Tune in. We're talking Game 7. World Series Game 7. That's fire. You can see how it's done. See how it's done. So you look straight through and like they never separated. Robleski came in, shoved. He was stellar. Turn it over to another starter. Right after that, what I loved is that Dave goes right to Tyler Glasnow. Side soreness. Tyler Glasnow comes in 2 1/3 inning. Who just pitched night before, right? Just came in there night prior, throws 3 pitches, gets out of the ball game. Kike Hernandez makes a great play night before, comes in here today, warming up, fit, knowing that there's going to be a role for them in Game 7, like a must-have role. Tyler Glasnow comes in, throws 2 1/3, allows just 1, gets 2 punch. After this run from Tyler Glasnow, I don't know if anybody can say a damn word about him. That trade they made with the Tampa Bay Rays and Ryan Pepio and, oh my gosh, what was his name? Outfielder, great mustache. It's escaping me right now. Somebody toss it in there real fast so I don't have to Google it. Oh, but again, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, do all the things for me. We're right by 100K. Johnny DeLuca, thank you, TQT. Johnny DeLuca. I was bummed because he had a show mustache, and that was elite. But Dodge Blue right at 100K. We're right there. So help us out. Share this around. Make 15 burner accounts. Do all those things for us. The most honest, independent Dodgers media you're going to have. And we've been here for you all postseason there. But Dodgers able to tack one on with Max Muncy's shot. And that was a beautiful thing because Max Muncy desperately needed a shot. We were talking all, leading into Game 7 about the disappointments in the offense, right? Thank you, Chad. I appreciate you. Everybody saying to Luca, thank you. And the disappointments in the offense. And Max Muncy was one that I circled that, man, Tommy Edman had a sacrifice, scored Mookie Betts. Sorry about that. Max Muncy was one that I really needed to see have a moment, and he didn't have a moment. And then Jimenez doubles. This was Glasnow in there. It felt like he was kind of running on fumes a little bit there. Clement singles, steals second. Yeah, Clement singles. He steals second. Jimenez doubles him in, and you're like, okay, 4-2 now. Now that feels like just another one. Bloop and a blast territory there. So I'm watching this TV, just charting this all in my mind. And then they go quick. Trey Savage, walks, fly out from Will Smith, double play from Freddie. In that top of the 7th, Vladdy lets out that humongous roar, and they can feel it. And chat, how that goes. You know exactly how that goes. When you can start counting outs, when you get into the single digits of outs, and then you look around and you're like, okay, now you're just down to your final 6. You've got to do something. You're chasing 2. Now the onus goes on John Schneider. Who do I go with here? Do I stick with Trey Savage? Do I go to the pen, who I've leaned on a lot? On Trey Savage, what I was looking out for, even in the top of the 7th, his spray pattern wasn't good. He's a young kid. He's going to be an amazing arm, but his spray pattern wasn't great. Left stuff in his zone to Freddie. Walked Ohtani on 5 pitches. And Will Smith, I think, barely missed. So I was looking out for that. And Emmett Sheehan, credit to him too. Another starter that comes in, gets a punch on Bo Bichette, Barger ground out, Kirk singles, cares, and then punches out Varsho, and then you get the sticks back up. And that's when Max Muncy steps in. Mookie Betts, all strikes. He just came out funneling. And then Max Muncy just split dead center cut. And that's why I talked about him, Trey Savage, leaving a lot right in the heart of the zone. Finally gave the boost that he's been waiting for all postseason. I would say he had the juice in the bat and he pumped one. It was a laser beam. That thing was high. It was a high pop shot, 373 foot. It didn't go as far, but it felt like it was, somebody said it was a mammoth shot. That's what it felt like. So 4-3, you're headed in there. And then you go to the bottom of the 8th. And this is where I want to reference back to what I said with all of these guys having their moment, because Emmett Sheehan comes out there, gives a leadoff double to Ernie Clement, and he's standing on second base. And I thought to myself, I sat back. I had a huge drink in front of me. And I sat back and I just said, shit. That felt like one where if they tack on another, that's when that heartbeat gets real fast for the Dodgers. Real fast for the Dodgers if they allow another one here. And guess who comes out of the bullpen to stop that right there? Who's had an incredibly tough World Series run is Blake Snell. And I want to give him a ton of credit because penned him as a game one guy. He earned that. And the Blue Jays just feel like they had his number. They had his stuff down. He wasn't able to establish the fastball here. Comes in, gets a Jimenez line out, gets a strikeout on George Springer, and then he gets Schneider to end the inning, who they pinch hit Lucas for. Pinch hit for Lucas. So that was, and the double saved it. The double saved it. We know. Yeah, that ended seeming at. There we go. And Glass now put the playoff choker to tag. Yeah, it's over with. He's here. So with all that, Dave Roberts saying that everybody had their moment. Rojas, everybody's saying everybody had their moment. That was with, the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth here. Jeff Hoffman comes in. Key Hernandez K's on some just tough pitches, going out there spinning sliders. And the ball's on Dave Roberts to leave Miguel Rojas in, who hadn't had a hit in a long damn time. And the logic with this is that Miguel Rojas steps in. Shohei Ohtani's still going to get an at-bat against Jeff Hoffman. And the thought is maybe Rojas can work a walk here. Maybe he can shoot a ball the other way, get a knock, then we get the at-bat to Ohtani. And what the hell does he do on the seventh pitch of the AB? Smoke a game-tying homer. And that's what I'm saying. It's the most improbable person to homer. It's going back to like 88 with, what is that? Who hit that one in 88? That's what I'm talking about. Was that Sosha? 88? Was that it? I think it's one of the most impactful homers in team history. Rojas. Bar none. Might be up there. Thank you. Yeah. Mickey Hatcher, 88. There it is. Mickey Hatcher, Sosha, all those boys. Yeah. Versus Mets. Thank you. That was it. I think it was Mickey Hatcher. Was it Mickey Hatcher? Nah, Fox. I'm talking about in the NLCS. It was Hatcher. Thank you. Thank you for the correction there. Just the most improbable. That's why I'm saying, like, it's game 7 of the World Series. I don't know what Jeff said and the boys said last night about the Rojas homer, but I think that it was the most impactful homer. It's top 2. Miguel Rojas had one of the biggest homers in Dodgers history. Down to 2 outs or down to 1 out. He's a legend. And Dave Roberts to put him in there and have that. So, and just, we can fast forward, Yoshinobu Yamamoto doing something that very few pitchers in history of ball will do, and goes out there in relief. And there's been a lot made and a lot spoken about how he keeps his body prepared for that, his body ready for those type of things, and how, flexible he is. He doesn't do traditional training, and everything he's been preparing for was for that, to be able to do that stuff. And Oral Hershiser had a great spot yesterday on 570 as I was driving home from the celebration, that you can throw. It's just more about just getting your mechanics right. And Hershiser mentioned that in 88, there were a lot of times, and throughout his career, there were a lot of times where his arm was like jello, but it was just getting his body and his bones and his, everything in the correct order. And he could go out there and just throw. And he was wondering how he had his best stuff. And when Yamamoto came in immediately, and he uncorks just strike after strike, I was like, okay, they got a shot now. Because Rogers Center was dead. They just watched their World Series clinching stuff explode in their face. And then Will Smith comes in there against Shane Bieber in his first inning of work after 2 outs. And he gets a slider, center cut, pumps it. And then flash forward to the bottom of the 11th there. The Vladdy Jr. double. Vladdy has separated himself into superstar territory that we're talking about a hitter that has a feel for the zone, and he understands what pitches he can do damage on, and nobody wants to face him. That's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a superstar, bona fide. Incredibly, incredibly jealous of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and what he could do on the ball field. He is a stellar talent, and I think that that was his coming out party, an all-time performance for him. But I couldn't tell you why John Schneider sacrificed bunts. Has IKF bunt Vladdy to third. I get it, but then you're just giving away an out, just like they said. I'm telling you, I'm sitting at this party and I yelled out, "They bunted." That's just a lot of things got to click right. Barger walks, then you can dance around them. And it's just, you gave away an out for a spot the Dodgers would be okay in anyways, right? You don't want to put the winning run, on base. I get that, but you have some wiggle room. You know what I mean? And then we know what happened with Kirk. He goes out there, ties him up, goes cutter outer half, doesn't catch a barrel, gets him looking on a curve, which was a weapon for him all year. And you notice he stayed away a lot from the four-seamer and just really tried to spin him to death. And then split outer half. Mookie Betts turned a double play. Mookie Betts' double play turn there. Let me pull this up here. Mookie Betts' double play turn was the number one play, the most impactful out to result. Excuse me. It's the single most impactful play that resulted in an out in Major League history. Number one, according to championship win probability added, 46.24. And Mookie Betts, in the most poetic way, gets a ground ball to short, takes it himself, fires. There it is. So that was a very tough play considering the moment. And with Kirk running, you had 5 business days to make that throw to first, and he threw a strike. So maple syrup sucks. I've never met a good person from Canada. And bluebirds are the most overrated in the history of the world. So Dodgers back-to-back. We move. And that's how I saw Game 7. In the longest winded breakdown ever. I appreciate you all listening to that. Because that's why we're here. We sit down and we talk about it. And it's just a beautiful thing. And they didn't tack on. And the Blue Jays could do nothing but hate themselves for that. It's about the moments. It's about tacking on. Yeah, DC. It's about trolling. All love. But nah, George Springer couldn't have happened to a better dude, Jimenez, get a bigger hand pad next time. Maybe it'll work. Let's take questions. Let's do it. That's why we're here. We do this all season. Not starting a war. They don't want that smoke. They haven't won since 93. I was born that year. That stinks. They had a great run. You got to cap it off, though. Beat the champ. You got to knock him out. Appreciate that one, Joe Davis. You got to knock him out. Springer deserves 10 lifetimes of sadness, that bozo. I said a lot of stuff on Saturday, and I don't remember a lot of it on here, but I remember that. Nothing good should come from George Springer rest of his life. When it comes to baseball, that bozo. Don Mattingly leaving Kershaw to die on the mound so many times. People were talking about they were bummed for him. I'm sorry. I watched him leave Kershaw out there to die. And I know it's like best option, but Kershaw clearly didn't have a lot of that stuff. And it's like, man, sorry, Donnie. But hey, you guys are right. I'm fired up. Tough times. Got no legit ring. And every time they would talk about George Springer's postseason stats, like, shut up, man. You had a Game 7 and everything else, whatever. Thank you. Yeah, DC, W. Mattingly, I'm in. All right, all caps question. Toss that in there. We can talk whatever you want. I don't care. TQT. I'll just put this one up here first. Rank our last 3 titles. I would say I have different reasons for 2024 and 2025. I'm gonna put 2023 because like I know it's a legit title and all the players saying it was like the toughest one, but like fan perspective, like we understand it's a title. Everybody played the same season, everybody played the same postseason. But it was that there was always like I wanted to leave no doubt, no other fan base, none yap nonsense about not a full season. So 2024 did that. And then 2025 having that redemption stuff. So 2024 and 2025 are 1 and 2. And I would say 2024, just as far as the roller coaster that was, that one stood up there. And I don't know if that'll be topped like offensively, just because like the players that were brought in and how much they did. And then 2025 this year with how they scratch and clawed through games, it felt, and they didn't play their best, even though like they lost one road game the entire postseason, which is remarkable. And when you look at it, they, swept the Reds. You ran down the Phillies. You only lost one there, swept the Brewers. And then you're just business as usual. And then in the 7-gamer against the Blue Jays, you really had to scratch and claw. And then you got knocked down and then they battled back. So it's that TQT. That's tough for me, man. That's tough. Final 2 games of the 7-game set, really, like, you can look back and you can watch both those games and just that's what you look at. Like I'll do that so many times over the next like couple months here and just watch both those games back to back, knowing that. So I would say that this team, because they had watching starting pitchers all rally together, that did something for me. Like feeling like they were knocked out and they just found a way. Yeah. But I'll say 2024 for me is the top one. That one really did it for me. But this was a incredibly satisfying run. It has different meanings. It's hard for me to do that. I just cling. There are a lot of players that like I cling to, and the fact that Kershaw had an impactful piece in this World Series was a big thing. Got a huge out. So ask me in a couple weeks, TQT, and we'll talk. Maybe next week. And I'll have a better answer for you. But it's hard to like say 1 or 2. No, Ti, it's not too early. That's why I'm here today. I don't know the schedule that we're going to have on Unplugged, but I'll keep you posted. We'll talk. I'll let some more opt-outs come out, and then we'll talk about things here. And if anything for the Dodgers clicks, maybe we'll go 2 a week. But I'll talk to the suits and get back to you on that. GI says too early for offseason talk. Priorities for 2026: outfielder, reliever. Would like to see them get younger and more dynamic in the outfield. A true center fielder would be nice. Yeah. So I've been saying for a few years now that I've got some knowledge. I've had some knowledge about the Kyle Tucker situation for a couple of years now. And I know them for a fact that they've been, wanted to be main drivers in that. But like the more things shake out and how Kyle Tucker is a terrific talent. And somebody brought up like a Kyle Tucker, his biggest thing isn't, baseball. It's, more of a job. And then I mentioned somebody mentioned up earlier in the comment section about him kind of being cavalier to baseball when it comes to just being, for, like I said, for employment, like Anthony Rendon type stuff. But that's one where I don't think a fall off like Anthony Rendon can happen again. Knock on wood. Kyle Tucker is, when it comes down to it, he is top 5 when it comes to bats when he is right. He just, first season in Wrigley, I think he battled with some injuries there. I'm very leery about handing out another massive contract to an outfielder and another player in their 30s. Like, how old is Kyle Tucker here? Let me pull this up. Kyle Tucker is he 28? Is that it? He's 28. So you'd be looking at like if I don't want to do another 7-10 year deal. I'm good. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. It's not wrong. I mean, wrong side of 20s. Yeah, I mean, very few players like Juan Soto go into their free agency, go into free agency in their like mid 20s. It just doesn't happen. People saying, Yoshi says, can we talk about the World Series season? We already did, man. We already did. We will. This is for the people. People want to talk everything. People turn the page. The Dodgers already turned the page. They said 2026. They were already looking ahead at that. Every player up there was talking about 2026. But GI, I think that on the bullpen wise, I don't want to add any high priced arm there. It's just more going to be another veteran dart throw. Somebody wants to come in on a 1-year deal with a club option, something like that. Cool. But I think they'll feel a little bit burned with the Tanner Scott situation. And they've got guys coming back, River Ryan, Kyle Hurt. I expect to have a pretty sizable role if he's ready, if that's where they want to go with it. Kershaw headed out. Who are the free agents right now we're looking at here? Give me a sec. 1 sec. Yeah, Yoshi, that's how it is. Never enough. Let me star that and I'll come back to it here. Foxy, that won't be like a Conforto situation. Like, are you saying like another 1-year deal? If that's what you're talking about? Because there's a lot of relievers too. And then in terms of like a 1-year outfielder, I'm looking that way. I'm looking at like more of those type of contracts because I want to have them with Zier Hope and Josue de Paula. And I want to have at least a spot opened up for them. Say there's like 2 more years till one of them are ready, 1.5 years. If one of them just breaks out there, then I'm really hoping that they don't put another, 7 to 10 year deal in the outfield. If they go ahead and I wake up and then Kyle Tucker's, signs to Los Angeles Dodgers, I'm going to be like, all right, sick. Like, but when it comes to having one of those young dynamic players getting younger in the outfield, getting some youth out there, an outfield spot is someone I would like to see, GI. So there's been a lot made about Cody Bellinger and that being a possibility. And that's a route that I could go with. I could get on board with that. I could really get on board with that for sure. Cody Bellinger's had kind of a career resurgence here, going to Chicago, going to New York. And I saw someone mention the possibility of a trade with Jarren Duran. I'm on record as saying that that's someone that I would be cool with. I know they just avoided arbitration for him, I think today. So that's someone that I would be cool with. That's just paying out prospects. Do they want to do it? It's more so for me, GI and Hep. I want to leave a spot open for the possibility of that because how many times have we seen a young player just clogged by somebody at the big league level and there's just no route for it? Just no route for it. Megan, you say Scott Boras client, but that's the world. That's how it goes. A lot of Scott Boras clients out there. They do it for a reason. Oh, dang. But my bad, man. I didn't see this one. He says Jimenez is classless for that. And you get what you want, but then you freak out for trying to get what you had to accomplish. The pitch wasn't malicious. Yeah, absolutely. Not even close. He's just pitching to the scouting report and pitching to the moment. Andres Jimenez, once the Dodgers stopped intentionally walking him, they all rejoiced. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the support and for being here. Let's see. Yeah, Hep says but if Kyle Tucker gives us prime production for 5 years, then by that time Ohtani will be ready on his 8th year of that contract. That would be a success. Yeah, absolutely. With big contracts, you pay for prime years and you live with the back end. That's just how it goes. That's why this Mookie Betts contract, like how close they were this year to like not having that. And I think the narrative around it would be completely different. But it's like Mookie Betts in this where he's at. I give him an off season and he's back to where he was feeling good with his body and everything. But with Mookie Betts, it's like you pay for those prime years and you live with the end. And Mookie Betts has already been around for 3 World Series titles with the Dodgers. So he could do nothing. He could sit around the rest of the contract and it's a success. and it's a success. So you pay for those years, you pay. So 28 years old, Kyle Tucker, he's going to give you elite production offensively. It's going to give you a plus in the outfield. Like, I can talk myself into Kyle Tucker. I don't need to tell anybody how good he is. He's an exceptional piece and fits what the Dodgers need. Left-handed bat, they've taken a step back against right-handed pitching, without those platoon guys in the last few years. And that's why, like, guys like Duran get some speed in the outfield there. His defensive metrics aren't so plus, but it's about having the speed aspect, a left-handed bat, someone who just hunts pitches. But Kyle Tucker is a complete piece, complete player. And get it in before, any salary stuff happens there, if people think it's going that route. But there's a couple different routes. There's a couple different routes that you can go here. But Cody Bellinger is one. I haven't seen the projections. I saw somebody tweet them out there, but it's a multi-year contract because Cody Bellinger is what now? He is 30. So I think if he gets a longer-term contract here, yeah, TQT, I know he's an extreme splits guy, but if they just want to go the platoon route, that's my point for that is, like, say we talk about wanting to keep something open, like a spot open, and you just go with stopgap pieces, Jarren Duran, Harrison Bader, and you just platoon around that. And that's how you kind of keep that stuff opened up, give yourself some more options there. That's how I view it. You know what I mean? That's how I view it. Leon, is Kyle Tucker good in the postseason? That's what counts. I would say so. I would say so. I don't have to get too crazy. He's played 72 games in the post in his career. He's got a lot of stuff. Like sub 700 OPS isn't great, but yeah, he hasn't had much success. Yeah, he hadn't been crazy. He did all right this post. 745 OPS. That was cool. It's just a big contract. I don't care. I'm not looking at postseason production. They're not looking at that. They're saying, superstar player available, ability to sign him and go from there. That's what I'm looking at with it. Yeah, GI. If the Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker, it'll be meltdown city. My phone will be blowing up. Al Potter says we should fix our bullpen first. There's guys. They can make it happen. I'm not worried about it. I'm never worried about the bullpen. The bullpen always figures itself out. He says thoughts on parade speeches. I felt they were a little bit rushed on some stuff. I thought Kershaw would go a little bit more. Joe Davis kind of teased everybody saying they're going to Kershaw, and then they bumped him out. I really wanted to hear from Will Smith. I wanted to hear from Teoscar just because he's such an emotional dude. I really wanted to hear from Teoscar because he had his moments. He did some big stuff there. He factored into the postseason run heavily. A lot of whiff in there, which is frustrating, but I really wanted to hear from him. So once they got to the stadium, I think Jeff touched on it a bit last night, that it did kind of feel a little bit rushed and abbreviated when they were on the mic. But hearing from Yoshinobu and Shohei was great. And Andrew Friedman, the architect. It felt rushed. Yeah, Jim, you're right. It felt rushed a little bit. But I wanted to hear from Will Smith. He wouldn't have said anything. It would have been like, Will Smith, huge go-ahead home run in the, game 7 there. What are you thinking? He would have been like, it was great. Thank you, fans. And then hand it off. But he's a GOAT. He's hilarious, man. He's like Joe Random, like when you play in like MLB The Show. Generic-looking dude. He's just a monster. He's so sick. All right. Let's see here. I will say, you look around, though. You look around on who has opted out so far. Like Shota Imanaga's opted out. A lot of guys have opted out. Robert Suarez from the Padres has opted out. Like, there is a lot. Like, the money is going to be there in the offseason here. So it's going to be good stuff. Want to hear from Roki? Roki was plastered, man. Let me see here. Excuse me. What do you think about Kozuma Okamoto? I'll be honest, I haven't looked too much into it. I know about Murakami. I haven't looked into, anybody else that'll be posted this offseason. I'll do my homework just for you guys. Let me look into that. We'll have a deeper conversation about it. But you look at projected stuff for next year and how the Dodgers are going to navigate that. I think they have pieces that they like. I'm more so focused on the outfield and how Tommy Edman's ankle heals up and what they can do there. That's really where I'm focused up, because who's going to play center field? Who's going to be at second base? Does Hesson Kim have a larger role here? How are they going to navigate all that in a corner outfield spot? What did they do with Teoscar Hernandez? There were points where it was like, do they move off of him? Is there going to be a market for him if a contract does not, come up for some of these guys? Does somebody want to go out and acquire Teoscar Hernandez? So there's a lot to be made in the next little bit here, but back-to-back World Series titles with a core definitely does change a lot of things. The conversation would be completely different had the Dodgers not succeeded and won this World Series. All of that matters, but you can't cling on to stuff like that. Yoshi, what are you talking about, man? You talk about the speeches were great. They were great. I loved them. I said I loved them. They were great. I just thought more guys would speak. That's it. Yeah. Let me see. Brandon, do you think there's a possibility Pius gets traded for a key piece this offseason since his value is high right now? I mean, that's a tough thing, because you need outfielders, and he's a young, controllable outfielder. I know somebody asked me in the postseason run, like, how he performed? Did it change? Did it change the way you view him? And I said, yeah. I said it's impossible not to. And I think so. Like, I really do. Offensively, he had a stellar regular season. He was great. I don't know what the hell happened. I really don't know. I don't know what happened to him in there. The move to pull the cord on him should have happened earlier, but it had everything to do with the health of Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman could have played center field, but his ankle is just hamburger meat. So it took to the final 2 games of the World Series to do that. There's always a possibility to do everything if the right move comes along and the front office gets approached with it. But is the player out there? Is the player out there to offset the loss? That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need to make a splash on the starting pitching. You've got the unit there. You've got guys who are willing to take the ball whenever. So it'd purely be for, a veteran, like a more established piece. You're not going to trade Paez for more prospects. That would be ridiculous, because he's already had major league success, even with the struggles in the postseason. So it would have to be for someone a little bit more established. That's what you have to look at. But they have to diagnose what happened to him, because he could be the guy going forward. They just have to stop and figure out whatever the hell happened in center field, or at the plate for Pies in the postseason. All right, we're at an hour 10. We're just hanging out. Let's see. I mean, Hep, that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of movement to be had. I wish I could put comments up on here so you guys can just follow up with chat on there too. He says, what if the prospects they get in Pies' trade to acquire someone better? It's just a lot of movement there. I want them to leave an outfield spot open, but I believe it's a corner spot. And that's why I'm looking ahead towards, who's available on that sense. I'm going to get a text from the suits any moment now and tell me to get out of here. We're doing our thing. But like, you look at the outfielders, Cody Bellinger is, one. Trent Grisham, I don't know what he's going to get in free agency. Cedric Mullins, not looking on that sense. Mike Yastrzemski's 35. Kepler's 33. Ramon Laureano's 31. I don't think the Padres let him go. It's just a lot of older players here. And you look at ones that are on the younger side, it's like, I'm telling you, Chad, it's a lot of older bats. It's like Cody Bellinger is going to get top end market stuff. Trent Grisham, I think he'll get a multi-year contract here. Silencer, I got you right now, man. I got you, man. I'm just waiting for our spot to do it. I just want to get through this a little bit here. I got you. I have it pulled up right next to me. And then Kyle Tucker, 29. So that's how it goes. He'll be 29 when the season gets going. So a lot of age in the outfield. So you got to really pick your spots. That's why there's nobody out there. Like there's not a lot of depth of youth in the fridge and stuff here. Silencer says, now that we had a season of show pitching and hitting, would you rather repeat that next year? Would you rather 50-50? Much respect to you. Get back on the mound. Do both. It was a lot for him to go out there and do 50-50 stuff. I would say he'll be much more acclimated to getting back to pitching and hitting when he's fully immersed in both, on the mound. But they'll balance it how they do. There's a lot of things that have to get cleared with Ohtani when he steps on the mound. They'll find a good balance. It's just that's how he's at his best. That's how he impacts the game everywhere. It gives you an ace, every 6th day. That's how it is. June 4th, 2026, LA in Toronto. Mark the calendars. Yeah, absolutely. That's stuff you got to watch out for. How they're going to receive the Dodgers. A lot of boos, but that stinks. Cool. Devin Williams on a 1-year deal. I think he gets multi-year. A lot of these relievers just get multi-year deal stuff. The starting pitching class, though, is crazy. There's so many starters. Edwin Diaz opted out. Suarez opted out. Helsley's a free agent. Devin Williams. Jansen's a free agent. Like, there's money out there. There's players out there. You're going to see a lot. And if the Dodgers just stand pat, everybody else is going to ruin baseball. This is a mess. I can't believe it. Oh, my God. Our big Dodgers are just going to sit around. Miggy retiring. I think he has 1 more year. Doesn't he? I think he's a free agent. I thought is that it? Is he retiring? I guess so. I thought they extended him. No, that's it. But I think the Dodgers bring him back on a 1-year deal. And that's kind of how it was. Sorry about that. I kind of that escaped me. I think they bring him back there, let him just do his thing in the offseason, and then kind of do what they've done with like Kike type. Just let him figure out what's going on, bring him back on a 1-year deal, and ride off. He's a beast, man. Cool. All right, everybody. I'll let you all know. Keep in tune on Twitter. I'll let you know when the next one is. We'll talk some free agent stuff here. I know you're all ready to do that. That's always the best thing. I'll give you some thoughts there. Do your homework. Let's talk free agents. Let's talk roster maneuvering here. But I'm going to keep enjoying this World Series title. So in the next couple of days here, we're going to talk, break some more stuff down here about things I loved, on this postseason run, stuff with Dave Roberts, especially again. So we're going to go through that there. But as always, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to go out there and vote. People are saying, yeah, big day today. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to DodgerHeads Unplugged with Scotty G. As always, my name is Scott Geirman. Until I can't say it anymore, back-to-back World Series champions. Maple syrup sucks. Never smile at a bluebird. World Series champions. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Go Dodgers.